everyone, welcome back to Lala D Stitches. This is Flosstube number, what am I at? 10. We're in double digits. Woohoo! I'm so glad to be back. It feels like it's been, I'm pretty sure I said this last time, but you know, December and January just kind of kicked me in the booty. And I've only gotten in a video, I think, each month. Maybe December I got 2 in. But it just feels like I've got long gaps between chatting with you, my friends, and that's going to change. Life is going to calm down in February in about a week. And things will get back into a more normal rotation. It will be lovely, and I will be able to stop saying it's been so long, because it won't have been as long. Anyways, despite the length, a lot has, well, I guess because of the length, a lot has happened. We were very surprised in my personal life, just a little update, to have an early addition to the family. My sister had her beautiful little baby girl. She was 3.5 weeks early. It was a bit of a surprise, and it was a bit scary, honestly. But her due date is in 2 days, and both Mama and baby Saoirse, her name is Saoirse, are doing really well. They're both recovered and healthy, and she is a strong, healthy, beautiful baby. So we're thrilled to have a new baby in the family, and you can bet that Auntie Laura is all over the internet scouring for the perfect projects and things to spoil this little girl with. It's very exciting. We're happy. We're very happy about that. I then spent 2 weeks traveling across the country to Nebraska to help my parents move. The drive across country in mid-January was pretty good for most of it, actually. I think we were very fortunate to have hit the country between snow systems. And so there was snow, there was winter, but it had been moved off the roads by the time we came through until the last day of driving, and we hit South Dakota, and there had been an ice storm while we slept. And it was driving a moving truck in ice storm conditions is not something I recommend to anybody. But we all made it to Nebraska, and they have a beautiful new home, and my dad's job is going well, and they are, I would put them somewhere around 95% settled. They've got a few, you know, there's always a few things that take more than 2 weeks to settle in. Some things just take a little time and being in the space, but really, when I left, they were ready to just do life. So that felt really good, and it was really nice to have some time with my parents, which as an adult, you don't get, you know, one-on-one time with them very often for any length of time. And so I was grateful for that. It was really nice. My mom and I, the last 2 days I was there, we had really settled most of the moving in. So we took the last 2 days off, and the Wednesday before I flew home, so last Wednesday, oh my gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago already. We went to, in December, I had mentioned this trip coming up, and I had been recommended to go to a shop in Omaha called Reflections. We went, and it was so worth going. So we had a really, really good time and splurged. I mean, I blew the wad this month. All of my nannying money went to cross stitch supplies. So stay tuned for some really fun haul, because there's a sizable stack of it. I will be going into hibernation and just stitching for the remainder of the winter to try to catch up. Hi, baby girl. Gracie's feeling a little needy after me being gone for 2 weeks. Can you sit up so they can see you? Hi. Yeah. Good girl. And she's about to have her world rock tomorrow because I also leave for one more week. One more week away. I'm going to watch my nephews down in Portland, and then I will be home. Hopefully for a while. Anyways, Reflections was great, and the last day we just sat and stitched, which was lovely and felt well-deserved. We worked really hard. and then I flew home, and it's been so good to be home. I then spent the weekend, so Saturday was my husband's and mine 11th anniversary, wedding anniversary, and so he worked all day, but I kind of settled in. I'd just gotten home the night before, and so I settled in, and then we went out to dinner, and then I've just stitched the rest of the weekend because that's all I want to do is sit and stitch and sleep. The sleep is high on my priority list right now. Oh man. Okay, let's get into it. So if this is your first time with me, this is a cross stitch channel, and I just share what I'm working on. It's super fun, and yeah, we have a good time. Anyways, I have a few finishes. Whoa, I said that way too casually. I have a few finishes. That's a big deal for me. I am not a monogamous stitcher. I am rather the opposite of a monogamous stitcher and enjoy the endless possibilities of new starts. Let's just put it that way. And so for me to finish something is like, oh, big news. And not only did I finish something, we're going to say I finished 3 somethings. One of them's really only a half finish, but that's okay. So let's do my finishes first. Yeah, let's talk about said finishes. So the first one, I had dropped this at the start of the new year. I started it in December last year. It was a stitch along with some lovely ladies who I'll tag down below. And it's been so fun to see what they're working on their versions of it and their progress as we go. And people were starting to finish it this month, and I was feeling super left out. So when I got home from my trip, it was the second thing I worked on, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna finish it. I'm gonna make this happen. And I had pretty much, the little details of one side left. And back stitching. There's very minimal back stitching in it, but I had some stuff. It was a few hours of work, but I did it. And the joy of winter oh wait, pause. Where's my little paper? Missing in action. All right, that's fine. We'll make do. It's done. I am so pleased with the finish. I'm like over the moon happy to have it done. Not only because I'm done stitching on it. Like, it's been super fun to work on, but I'm done. If you know what I mean. I did adjust probably, 25% of the colors. Some of them are the same, but the red the original is charted in DMC colors, and I suppose I can show you that because it is a free chart. Here we go. So I changed 1, 2, 3, 4 of the colors, it looks like. So they're originally charted in DMC, which is lovely. It made it for a really accessible SAL, because I have a DMC collection, a growing DMC collection. But I didn't care for it. Was very beautiful, but darker, more primitive colors. They have a bit more of a gray undertone, and I wanted to brighten it up a little bit. So the pink was a dusty rose, like a briar rose kind of color, and I brightened it up to more of a coral. The red is Classic Colorworks Gotta look at my list. I didn't write it down. Anyways, it's a classic Colorworks. I want to say it's ribbon red. I think that's it because it'll crop up again. It's one of my favorite over-dyed reds right now. And this gold that goes through here, I swapped out. It's supposed to be one of the like monofilament sparkly gold ones, and I just did Weeks Dye Work tarnished gold, I think is what that one is. It's either that or whiskey. No, it's whiskey. I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to fight with metallic threads. So there she is in all her glory. I will get this fully finished before next Christmas, and I am planning on a soft finish. I'm going to make it into a pillow to put on. We have a little bench by our front door for putting shoes on and off, and my purse sits there. So it'll be a really cute bench pillow. That way it also doesn't get totally mangled. I still am getting a few questions about where to find this chart. In video number 7 and 8, I linked it below both of those videos. And if you just copy and paste that into a search bar, it takes you to the to her freebies page, and then you can just click on it. And there was some concerns over the last month or so that the site had been shut down, but I just checked it last night to make sure it is still active, it is still available, and I will also link it below this video one last time, just to make it more convenient for you. So, but that's where you can find the pattern. It's delightful. It was really fun to stitch. All right, a gentle flop onto the floor. My second finish will require just a brief moment of plastic moving. I'm sorry for that. I'll be gentle. Oh, before I do that, since this is a free chart, I wanted to show you how I mark my my charts. Not very often can I do this because I don't want to be, sharing people's charts on the internet, but this one's free, so I can do it. And so what I do is I make a working copy, is what I call it, and then I highlight as I go. And each color is not actually like a color change, it's the different week chunks, if you will, that I worked on it, which I find very satisfying. It to look at it and say, okay, this week I'm working in this blue highlighter. I just pick a highlighter that I have these mild liners, which I am addicted to. I use them in my planning and all sorts of stuff, and I also use them here to highlight my charts. And so I'll be like, oh, the last 2 weeks, I usually do it either by the week or between videos. I'll switch colors so I'll know how much I did since my last video, since I started doing Flosstube. And anyway, so it feels really good to be like, ooh, yeah, I did all this red, or I did all this green, or yeah. It's just my silly little self-affirmation thing. Oh. And then the tape fails you. Oh, that's a tip. If you want to do that, don't tape along the top of it. You have to tape the back because highlighters don't like tape. So anyways, it's not like it's the only way to do things. There are a lot of ways to keep track of your work, but I find that super helpful, especially in something big like a HAID or a full coverage of any kind. Mirabilias, where you've got really close color changes, having that working copy that I can mark off my stitches. It's just like if you had Pattern Keeper, but not all patterns are compatible with Pattern Keeper. And if you're an Apple person like I am, Pattern Keeper is not compatible with you. So we find new ways to do it. Anyways, just wanted to share that. My next finish, I started also in December. This is like world record speed stitching, you guys. I am so fast. Okay, I'm really chronically not a fast stitcher, but this feels very fast. I started this at the beginning of December, started the other one at the beginning of December, and I am done with both of them. This is Christmas at Winterberry Cabin by the incomparable Brenda Gervais. Gervais. I'm not sure how she pronounces it. I'll have to find out. Anyways, I love it. This one, the colors are just so happy. It makes me happy to look at this one. And I would like to find a frame. I would rather not have to buy a custom frame. It is a bit of a funky shape, but I would for this one because I think it's so cute. I did change the green, so I pulled from Stash on this one. I think actually one of the only colors that is original to the chart is Santa's chili pepper suit. And maybe the onyx of the sign. But anyways, I just pulled from Stash. I have a small overdyed floss stash, and that I try to supplement with a thread here and there of, you go into those stores with those beautiful shelves or racks or walls of overdyed floss, and it's hard not to buy every single one. But I usually allow myself the freedom to buy 2 or 3 extras that are not in my list necessarily, just because the color speaks yumminess to me. Anyways, this one I would like to frame instead of doing a soft finish. She did it in a pillow, and it's super cute, but I don't need 2 pillows. Who knows? Things can change. We'll see what happens. But that one is done. See if I can tuck this back in here. Don't want it to get mangled. Okay, the next one is the 0.5 finish. It counts as a finish because it's technically a whole chart, but it's only half of the project because I'm combining them onto one thing. So this is currently Lala D Stitches, me. It sounds weird to say. Oh, here, let me set that part down. I'm hosting a sal. It started in January. It is for the Cottage Needleworks Frosty Forest series, because my brain apparently worked in slow motion while I said that. Who knows why? Anyways, it's been delightful. It's been so fun. People are starting to share on Instagram their progress, and if you don't have Instagram, you're always welcome to send me an email or something with your progress. I would absolutely love to see what you're working on. And not everybody is working on... Sorry to turn away while I'm talking. I'm trying to find my little paper because I feel like things don't focus very well without that cardstock papery thing. Maybe I could just use... No. Well, pardon me, technical difficulties. You think you have everything put together, and then you get surprises. Oh well, not much. I don't see it here. Whatever. Okay, sorry. A little distraction there. Anyway, so the SAL started in January, and the idea was that you would take 2 charts and that we would all stitch them together. And the motivation for this kind of came from, I shared in December that I struggle pretty, what's the word? Strongly with depression. And I try really hard to not make it a taboo subject in my life. It is part of me. It is just a little mental illness I deal with, and while I don't want to blow it out of proportion, I certainly want to acknowledge that it's a part of my life right now. Hopefully not forever, but even if it is, it's just something we do, and we try to do things that I try to do things that alleviate that. And part of that, which is one of the hardest parts for me with depression, is to not completely isolate myself. Just become a hermit in my couch. And to interact with people, to reach out and, you know, be a part of something. Anyways, so it's called the Better Together Sal or Frosty Sal, excuse me. I keep messing that up. The Better Together Frosty Sal, because it's the Frosty Forest series. And it's just for January and February. And the idea is that we stitch together and that we can feel like we're part of this beautiful cross-stitching community and that we're not alone, even through these seemingly endless gray months of our year. So, Better Together Sal. So the first month I worked on this, disclaimer, asterisk, star at the bottom. You can work on whatever you want to. It doesn't have to be this. A lot of people are doing this with me, and that is delightful, but you can work on whatever project you want to and just hashtag it the Better Together Frosty Sal, and it will be wonderful. I'm trying to comment on everybody, and I'm following it, so I'd love to see your work. Anyway, so first month I started with Snowman's Cottage, and I'm stitching it on a light blue even weave from my stash. Let's see if this will work. I feel like something behind it will be good. And I'm combining the charts onto one piece of fabric. So you'll see I only have 3/4 of my frame, and that is because the other half of it is going to be finished or done in February, and then I will add this cute little chart that is very reflective. Here we go. So I'm going to stitch it like so. There we go. That works pretty well. Ha! Ingenuity. See if I can get my brain back on track though. I'm going to stitch it like this. So these cute little deer are looking over at the snowman's cottage. I just liked that idea for some reason. They can be stitched individually. I think most of the people I've seen are doing it that way, and that is delightful. They are so cute just on their own. I mean, this little guy just in a frame or as a pillow, little soft finish, or with a little fabric border around him would be darling. Absolutely adorable. I did darken my house color. It is Weeks Dye Works Ocean Breeze, I believe. I don't have it right with me. But the called for soft aqua was really, there wasn't a lot of contrast with my soft blue. I mean, there was, but I wanted more. So it's the same color family. I just darkened it a little bit. And you'll notice I do not have a little bird here. That is on the original chart. I was going to kind of design a little bird and maybe put like a blue jay or a cardinal or something in there, because I'm not much of a button person. But without doing a bunch of like quarter stitches and stuff, I wasn't getting a very good shape. So, and I didn't feel like doing a bunch of quarter stitches. So it's just a naked spot of snow right now, and I may or may not try to find buttons. It is yet to be determined. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so starting in February, which is tomorrow, all of a sudden, where did January go? How can it be the shortest and fastest month of the year all at once? Shortest and fastest, shortest and longest is what I meant to say, because my brain works goodly. Anyways, starting in February, I will start working on this little guy and filling out the scene, which will be super fun. So whichever ones you're working on, I hope to see over the next month. It's really just for February, and then, I mean, you guys obviously can keep working on it. I did my Joy of Winter Sal a whole extra month, and I was debating procrastinating it out until next December, but I got my rear in gear and got her done. Okay. So, progress report. So that's all my finishes. Just the 2.5. Just the 2.5 awesome finishes. So, I always have grand plans for my month's goals. And they're not even so much goals, but just projects I'll work on. And this month I wound up completely omitting several of the projects I showed you at the start of the month. Not because they're gorgeous or not because I don't ever want to work on them again. Like, they're not retired forever. They just didn't quite hit the spot. And so I wound up with, I think it's 5 or 6 that I focused more on. And when I say focused more on, I mean between moving boxes and driving halfway across the country and back, I stitched when I could. Anyway, so I did work on the swans, the cottage garden samplings. I adore them. I have not seen any swans in the last month. Maybe because I haven't been here. But through December, I was seeing them everywhere. It seemed like such a good omen. So I'm pretty captivated by them right now. I'm in my little bird brain. And I had to go and stock my own Flosstube to find a starting point because I did not take a before picture. So this is where we last left off with my huge start of half of their faces. Oh, but don't worry. I've made progress. And I'm going to use this little notebook. I think that'll work as long as I don't drop it. They actually look like swans now, at least necks of swans. This is the little belly of the swan. I'm stitching this on Seraphim linen, 32 count. The color is Witching Hour. And I mean, it bewitches me every time I look at it. I think it's one of the prettiest linens I have. I love it. Anyway, so yeah, good progress. I don't know if you can see the color change. This is a very soft, like buttery yellow. And this is actually a soft minty green. I'm sure they will show more once I get other colors in there. But it felt really good to get their little faces completed because then they didn't look like little black blobs. And I'm excited to get into really the bulk of the color in this chart is their feathers and their wings. And those colors are really quite beautiful. So that will be fun. I'm going to continue working on this at least through February. I don't know if it will carry over into March because I'm already feeling this way. I've stitched a lot of white the last 2 months, and I'm really feeling the need for some color in my life. So I'm pretty sure that if I survive February's white, whatever projects carry over, I will be ready to drop them in favor of flowers and beautiful spring things. That's okay. That's exactly why I am a seasonal stitcher, because I change with the seasons. I am a seasonal human. Okay, the next one I just pulled out yesterday. Yeah, we actually had a sunny day yesterday. It was spectacular. And actually the last 2 days, this weekend was a gorgeous weekend. And I did not go out in it because it was also, okay, this is going to sound silly because most of the United States are experiencing a pretty severe cold snap this week. And so, for instance, Rexburg, Idaho, I have family that lives there, and they were negative 27 degrees yesterday. And I was almost a full 70 degrees warmer than them, sitting at 35 or whatever we were yesterday. But the nights are getting really cold, and so the mornings stay cold, and they're floating around 20 degrees, which for my lizard blood, I actually prefer the cold weather. I'd rather wear more layers than sweat, but I also don't want to really go out in the cold. So, you know, I'm a lizard, whatever. All of that is to say, it was a gorgeous day yesterday. So this project, Happily Ever After by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, is being stitched on 40 count, 1/2 threads. Ooh, I could use the back of this. That'll be good. And it's just beautiful. It's Lakeside Linen Wisteria. And it's gorgeous, but the stitches are so tiny, my brain explodes every time. So, a beautiful sunny day. All of that preamble was to say, yesterday was sunny enough that I pulled this out and I didn't even have to have a neck light on. So I got some stitching in on it. And if I was with it enough to show you the before picture before, oh goodness, it turned. There we go. So, I made good progress. I finished the frame out and got these beautiful little leaves in. I have tweaked some colors on this, and let me show you why. Because I was completely smitten with, I believe it's Sarah Does All the Things on Instagram. A couple years ago, she had finished this. It may be more than a couple years ago because this has been in the wings for a while for me. Main pictures. There we go. Anyways, I took a screenshot of the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery post of this because her finish was so gorgeous. And it was one of those things where I'd seen the original, I was like, oh yeah, that's cute. And then I saw this Sarah Does All the Things and I adored it. I just absolutely loved it. And she made some tweaks to it. She changed some of the colors and she did fancy stitches in some of the borders that I'm not going to do that. But I took inspiration from her and I wanted to read in person closer to what that picture shows. So brighter, cleaner. Not that the colors are dull by any means. They're not. The original colors are not dull. But this green is an alteration. It is a Cosmo variegated. And I stuck with Cosmos for this one because they already do a lot of Cosmos. Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery uses a lot of Cosmo as alternate thread colors in their designs. And so when I kitted this up a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, it's got to be at least 2.5 years ago. Not really important details here. Anyways, when I kitted it up, I stuck with Cosmo. My hand-dyed stash was not as big as it is now, but I've done embroidery. I've done Crabapple Hill embroidery. For those of you who know them, they use Cosmo pretty exclusively for their designs at this point. And so I had quite a stash of those. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be cute. I'm excited to work on that. I still am holding on to the dream of having it done in a year, but we'll see. My average time span for my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, which you'll see back here, is probably closer to 2 years per annual sal. Because I'm cool like that. But that's okay. There's no rush. It's not a competition. Just doing it to enjoy it. So the next one I worked on is, oh yes, she came out of the woodwork. So Daydreamer. I always call her Daydreamer. I don't know why. Into Dreamland. By Letty Stitch. This captured my heart in September last year, and I swooped it up and started it. Got some really good progress, really good progress. But for working on it 1 day a week. I work on my full coverage on Sundays now. And this is the first like truly full coverage every single stitch that I've done. And I started up in this upper left. I guess it depends on what way you look on it. Anyway, this corner. And I put it away for December because I was really into, again, the seasonal stitching, and I had a lot of things going on, and it was a busy month anyways. So as it is for so many people, for most people, life is busy. But anyway, I put it away for a month, and it was so exciting to get it back out this month. And I worked on it, I think twice. I want to say twice. So this is where it had been left in December. And you could start to see that bird in there, and yeah, kind of had the first page defined. And here is where she sits, maybe. Yeah, so I'm getting really close to a page finish on this, but I have decided, as I stitched this last time, that I am going to start bleeding into the other pages so that I don't wind up, and it doesn't happen for everybody, but I have seen where people will do a page and then you see a pretty well-defined line as they go into the next page, and I don't want cube markers through my chart, through my design. So I'm going to start bleeding into this area and this area. What do they call that? Going cross country, I think is the term. A little bit more. Just to break up the defined line through here so that I don't get those marks. And then they're not obvious. I think, I don't even know that everybody notices them, but it's something that I notice. So I don't want that to happen. This piece is way too pretty to be looking at it and be like, it looks like I'm looking through a paned window instead of that one continuous piece. Anyways, she's gorgeous, so she'll be out again. I actually did not work on her this weekend, but that's because I was hot into my Christmas finishes, so that's okay. She'll come out next Sunday, I think. As long as I'm home next Sunday. I don't know if I'm home yet. We'll find out. She'll be out this month for sure. February. This month, that's in February. Okay, so next one I worked on is a Gold Dimensions kit, Woodland Enchantress. She's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, that's all I've got. She's beautiful. And I'm excited to work on her. I'd started her, she was a gift a year ago at Christmas, and I'd gotten a start on her, and then, in fact, I'd gotten that start on her, and then not worked on her again. And again, this is one, I'm going to have to find a different way to fold it. You can see I've got a pretty hard crease there. Don't want that to get set in permanently, and I'm sure stitching will help ease that a bit, but anyways, that's where I started. You could start to see her arms and her skirt, and I am now, get a little background here, there. So good progress, just kind of filled in some of her sleeves and her bodice. This sleeve had to be redone entirely. I was one stitch too low and too far to the edge, so oops, that was a bit of a bummer. But not a terribly tragic. This is the point to catch it, my goodness. Instead of getting all this background stitching and she's got a staff, a staff that comes down. Like if that whole corner had been in there and then I discovered that it was a stitch off, could have been a disaster. But it wasn't. It was caught in the early stages. She's beautiful. I'm not sure that I'll work on her in February. I love her, but she's kind of January to me. I don't know. She doesn't really feel like a February stitch as much. She might have had her day in the sun. Poor woodland enchantress. Okay. My next one is my Barbara Anna Four Seasons, and this is one of my few pretty firmly established goals for the year. I tend to play it pretty fast and loose with my goals for stitching. Like I don't want pressure. This is a hobby. It's supposed to be something I really enjoy and that brings me peace and happiness and creative outlet. And so for me personally, like goals are good, motivation is good, but I don't want it to be goals to the extent that I wind up potentially with a feeling of failure if I don't meet them, because life happens. If the last 2 months are any indication, big grandiose plans, just a lot of them didn't happen because life got busy, and that's pretty status quo. So it's not focusing. Focus on that, not me. Anyways, this one is one of my goals. I want it done this year, and it's totally achievable. Only 4 seasons. It's basically 3 months for each one. And here, let me show you this first. This is where we started. So I think I'd pulled her out in December a little bit, and I'd filled in her skirt and given her some hair, kind of put some of her face in there so she didn't look as much like an alien. And this month, because that's pretty much what we're at, I did, get my thing behind it, a little white arc. So there's still white in the skirt to define these. One thing I love about these is they have like the quilt blocks in the skirts. That detail appeals to my quilty heart. And there's still some detail work to do up in the, not much actually, just a couple berries it looks like, and then some blue on the other side to fill in, but totally doable. And I'll be working on pink in February, not just white, so it'll be great. Anyways, I want this done by the end of February, and then this is where I am as a whole. You can see spring will go really quick because I'm close on that one. And then summer and autumn I'll have to be a little bit more focused, but this one will be done in 2023. That's the goal. Anyways, oh, sorry, puppy. You're a good girl. Didn't mean to bump you. Oh, stretches? Yeah. Oh, I should have mentioned that that is a Barbara Anna design, and it's exclusively available through Nitka Designs. You can find them on Instagram. That's how I found them anyways. And so that was a purchased kit for that. And so it's just the linen they sent me and all of their flosses. All right. Let's see here where we started picture. Oh, this next one's a good one. So this one is my Snow Maiden. She was my New Year, New Start. Focus. And she is spectacular. I actually just saw somebody post either this morning or last night on Instagram. They had finished her whole head. They're beading as they go, which is a really smart idea, but I have not bought the beads yet. My sister has. She kitted this up with me at the same time when she was visiting last fall. And she just told me she has the beads, so I better get my house in order here so that I can catch up, because beading as you go, I've not done it before, but there's, especially where I don't hoop, I'm an in-hand stitcher. It would be really nice to just see it. Anyways, the lady who did it, I don't remember who it was, but it was gorgeous. It's absolutely spectacular. This is where I was. I'd kind of done part of her face and worked on her, what is that? It's kind of like a shawl, muff, a fluffy shawl, winter shawl. And I am, see, I'll just fold this in half. I think it'll back itself. There. So I've started to go into her hair. I haven't done any, I was hoping to get into some of the water lilies. They are spectacular, but I didn't quite make it into that. I've only been able to work on her, I think, twice since we met last, maybe 3 times, but I feel like it's twice. Anyway, so not a lot, but her face is done, but for back stitching, and she's got some of her hair, which is very exciting. She's gonna stay at least through February because purple is a very February color to me. The birthstone is amethyst, and while this fabric is called Pansy, it's a Picture This Plus, 32 count pansy. It is close enough to amethyst for me. Okay. Plus then I get more progress on her. Oh, that's everything I worked on. Okay, so that's it. Like I said, it wasn't that many projects. I just didn't stitch as much as I normally do. So now we get into my plans. So I think we just determined I'll keep Snowmaiden and I'll keep my Barbara Anna and potentially none of the other ones I've worked on. I do have another Barbara Anna, the She Mad Hatter, and then a new, who does it? Another Alice in Wonderland. For me, Alice in Wonderland is kind of my February theme. I have a book that I love that I read, and now I've got a couple of projects, so I'll bring those out in February and work on those, and that'll be really fun. Okay. Yes, I cannot remember. I forgot to write it down. Fiddlesticks. See if I can look this up real quick before we go into. So the next thing we're going to go into is haul, which sounds like normally this would be a very small segment of my channel, but this month, as I mentioned before, it is bigger because I spent all of my spending money. Oh, but that's okay. It's been super fun. Let's see here. I'm just looking for, there we go. So the first time I went shopping this month was right before my trip, and I met up with a woman named Jill who, hi Jill. She watched my channel and reached out to me, and we've been trying to get together. She lives locally, and we've been trying to meet up at the local cross stitch shop, Threadneedle Street, for a couple of months now, and we finally made it happen. And it was so fun to meet her in person, and so we found her birthday project, and of course I shopped too, and we just had a grand time. So here is my haul from Threadneedle Street. First one is, oh my goodness, this is it is so beautiful. I have not kitted it up yet. It's still just pattern as it comes, but I can hardly wait. This will probably, I'm gonna have to kit it up in the summer. I think she's absolutely gorgeous. There's just an elegance and a peace to this project. I really do love it. We lived in a house for a couple of years, and our neighbors had ducks and chickens, runner ducks specifically, and they were always a real source of entertainment. And they had this property, and so you'd see these chickens and ducks meandering their way through this big beautiful green field, because Oregon is very green on the west coast, and there's just, again, a peace to it. There's something so wholesome, and I miss looking out my back window and seeing that gentle hill of green grass with the runner ducks and chickens, you know, just doing their thing. Anyways, so that's what this spoke to me right away when I saw it. I knew I had to bring her home. I'm really excited. Plus she has brown hair like me. Not that that matters. Okay, next one is this. Sue Coleman is an artist based out of, where is she out of? I want to say Canada, yes. So my family lived in Juneau for a number of years, and her artwork is all over there. I mean, you just see it everywhere. And I've admired this pattern for a while, but never pulled the trigger. Anyways, this was my bird trip. Apparently, 2023 is the year of birds because I'm just drawn to all things birds. I did pick up a piece of linen to stitch it on, which on first impression might make you think, oh, that's never going to show up. But I think it is. It's going to be great. It's just going to be a shadow because there's, can you see the gentle marbling? Maybe if it's up against my sweater. It's so pretty. It's so soft. And the colors are, yeah, 926, 928, the 400 range. I really think they're going to show up okay. And if they don't, then I have a beautiful piece and I can find something else. But I think it'll be really pretty. I'm not sure when I'll start this one, whenever it feels right, but it's a start. I think it's really pretty. The next thing I got is this Prairie Schooler birds, prairie birds, and they are so sweet. Like I said, it's the year of the birds. I mean, I love the little chickadees, and we've got a hummer, and I mean, I can't even identify all of them. I've got a robins, but they're so happy. I'm really excited to stitch them, and I think for once in my life, I might stitch them individually like she has shown here and do a little dough bowl or something. I mean, I'll have to buy a dough bowl, but I might actually stitch it as called for. I found this really beautiful, again, picture this plus, oh, that other linen was for the Kingfisher. It's pewter, in case you were curious. Inquiring minds want to know. This is Fresco. And I don't know if it'll show, but it's got like a soft peachy color and a little bit of a blue into it. And it just feels perfect for this project. And so maybe I'll probably wait till spring to start this. But they'll be delightful. Maybe I'll start with that one. Maybe. We'll see which one speaks to me when I pull it out. I haven't kitted any floss or anything for that yet, so it's still in the works. And then Jill, bless her heart, she gave me a present, which was totally unnecessary, but she has an Instagram Etsy shop called Paper Crane Stitches, and she makes these beautiful bags out of old tablecloths, I think is what she said. And anyways, it's really nicely made. It's really beautiful, all finished inside, and it's got some body to it. I mean, I've never had a bag without a picture panel, if you will, a vinyl front. But I love this. It's big enough that it'll fit some of my larger projects, and yeah, I'm really excited to use it. So thank you, Jill, you little pill. You didn't have to do that, but I'm gonna use it. And then she also gave me this cute little, oh my gosh, they just make me think of The Last Unicorn in 1980s, and they are so funny and they're so cute. And I love that one, and I actually quite love that one, and I will probably wind up stitching one of these this year because she knows me. She knew me without even... It was such a surprise. Oh my goodness. I opened it. It was tucked into the bag, and I was like, are we linked somehow? Anyways, bless her heart. Another gift. You guys are so generous. Thank you so much. So this is from Whittier Stitches, and she reached out to me and said, I saw this book And it made me think of you, and can I send it to you? And so I was like, I mean, if you want to, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. And I was thinking just like a little leaflet kind of thing. Guys, this is like a book. It's beautiful. And you can see I've already flagged so many wonderful. There's this series right at the start, wherever the start is. There we go. Of Santas, and they're more Nordic Santas, which I love. The old artwork Santas, they're just beautiful, and they're all on different animals. They are so cool. I love that one. And then, let's see, this one obviously will be started this year. It's so cool. Anyways, it goes on. They are really beautiful projects. And anyway, thank you, Whittier Stitches. I am really humbled. Like, this is, you guys are so generous. Thank you so much. And you'll be seeing those in this year's rotation at some point because they're too good. Okay, so that brings me to my extravaganza in wherever my mom lives, Nebraska. And I just want to show you, we had a good time. So this is us, my mom and I, in Reflections, which is in Omaha. And you can see it's a big shop. She has, I don't even think we touched every pattern in there because there's so much to see. I'm a little jealous that my mom lives only an hour away and she can just pop herself over there when she wants to. But she had two beautiful gallery walls, and she was a little busy when we first got in there, but we, being who we are, lingered a long time. And when she was free, she came over and chatted with us and helped with selections and just really made for a lovely experience. So if you are anywhere near Omaha, Nebraska, and looking for a great cross-stitch shop, I cannot recommend Reflections enough. It's in a new location. She's in the downstairs of an office building, so she's only been there 2 weeks, I guess, and she hasn't quite gotten all of her signage up yet. And we literally circled the building twice before we decided, okay, let's just go in and see if there's like a sign on the wall somewhere that will direct us, see if we're in the right spot or not. And it was the right spot. Anyways, it's a beautiful shop. Worth the trip. I found so many things, but the first is she had a sample of this little House Needleworks. It's the Needlework ABC. So if you look closely, I don't know if it'll focus on anything but me. There we go. See, it says crosses, hoop, needles, thread, scissors. It's so cute. And it was so cute all stitched up. She didn't have it in a frame. She'd done it on, I think it would have been a 14 count or so 28 count linen, and she had mounted it onto a large board, and it was at the entrance of the shop, and it was so cute. And I've not done a finish like that before. I've never seen anything quite like this that made me be like, that's how I want to finish it. But I'm thinking that's the direction I'm going to go. I thought I would have something in my stash for stitching it on, and woe is me when I got home. I do not. So at some point down the road, again, maybe summertime or something, because it's got some pretty flowers and an in-bloom tree and stuff like that, perhaps I will find some linen for it and get it started. But I think it's beautiful, and I've been wanting a needlework themed project to hang in here. So it fit the bill that I didn't even know I had. And then, because I'm a crazy loon, I kitted up 3 projects. Like I said, I blew the wad, you guys. I never do that. I usually go in and I'll buy a pattern, or I'll buy a pattern and fabric. I never buy like all of it all at once. I normally don't have the money for it, but it came with a wad of cash that I'd worked really hard to earn over the last month, and I spent it. So I was able to do that, and it was super fun. It was super fun. I feel like I'm missing something here. I am missing something. Oh, it fell on the floor. Excuse me, I'm gonna drop out of frame. Okay. Woo. I'm back. Okay, so the first one will be a summer start for me. I'm gonna pull it out of this bag just because we don't have any sun today, but it's just bright enough that I'm getting some reflections. So this is a By the Bay Needle Art, Cabbage Road, oh my gosh, Cabbage Rose, Seaside Manor. Oh, and I think it feels like you're at the beach. Something about the curve of this stem, it feels like you can just feel the sea air, the breeze that comes in off the shore and off the water, and you can smell the salt in the air and the fish. And I want to be right there. That would be a good spot for me. I love it. I think it's so beautiful. And the colors for it are beautiful too. Oh, and it comes with this. So this came, sorry for the plastic. This is the cutest little thing. So I make these little, here, I'll show you. I make these, I just use 3x5 cards, and this one doesn't have a lot of changes, but I'll write down my linen and, you know, what it is, who it's from, and then if I make any alterations or do a separate, you know, conversion of any kind, I'll make those markers on my thing. And I've started adding like start and finish dates to it, but this pattern came with one and it's so pretty. Oops. Not that you can see it. It's so pretty. So it says started, completed, fabric used, framed by, stitched with love by, and I mean, it's so classy. It's so pretty. I'm absolutely tickled. Anyway, so I found, this is a 30 count linen. It just says linen cocoa on it. But I'm gonna pull it out of the bag so that you can see the color of it because it's gorgeous. Love it. And then here are, this one's not fully kitted up, but I have a lot of it already. You know how you get that kind of like mental register of colors that are familiar because you probably have them in your stash? Yeah. Anyways, it's gonna be so pretty. This just looks like an antique parchment or something to me. And I think it will showcase everything really nicely. So that'll be a summer start for sure, if it even makes it that long. It might be a late spring start. Because I love it. And then, let's go this way next. This one, okay, so I had a sad story about my fairy moon, or moon fairy, the fairy moon, yeah. And I had purchased linen. I found this, it's a out of print chart, and I found it for less than $1 bajillion and snatched it up and then was hunting for linen. And I found one at Acorns and Threads, but you guys, my brain was not on that day. It was somewhere else. It was on vacation in Hawaii with sunshine and waves and pelicans. And my linen, I pulled it out. This was going to actually be my New Year, New Start. And woe is me again. I had purchased the wrong size linen. I don't know what happened. All I can figure is that I assumed the count size instead of reading the count size. Anyways, long story long, it was wrong and I was very disappointed, but Reflections had a spectacular piece of linen. And when I saw it, it is Macbeth. I don't have a company. It just says linen, 32 count Macbeth. But we did the math together right there. And it's gonna be so I bought it without the floss. I just knew, like I could feel that it was going to be right. And when I got home and did a floss toss on it, everything harmonized. But this, it's showing up brighter than it actually is. Like it's gorgeous and rich, but it's not quite as vibrant as it's showing, which is usually the opposite of what the camera does. I would say this corner is closer. Like there's a definite gray undertone without it being dull in any way. Anyway, I'm so excited. She's gonna be so beautiful, and I need to like slow my roll because I have so many Mirabilia started. But she is now, other than beads, fully kitted and ready for when my heart wants to stitch it. Because that's how we roll. Okay, 3 more, and then I'll let you go on with your day. But this is fun, right? This is totally fun. I know you love it too, because y'all are kindred spirits. Okay. Brenda Gervais. I'm going to say Gervais because I feel like that would be the French way of saying it, and it seems to be a very French origin word. Which is just me rambling. Don't worry about me. This Sampler Hill. You guys, I'm not even like a sampler person, and this is spectacular. I mean, I have a few samplers in my world, but don't get me wrong, they're beautiful. I love samplers. I just don't stitch a lot of samplers. There's something about words that I generally avoid. I like how they look, but I don't enjoy stitching them as much. But this one, she had a sample of it on the wall, and I fell in love. Again, I'm that person that likes to mix things up and do it my own way. I think it's this innate stubbornness in me. But this time, I loved what I saw enough that I just tried to get as close as I could. Sorry, my hair is everywhere right now. I need a haircut. It's getting tray long. My really good French. Sorry. I'm actually trying to learn French, and if I throw little words in there, even silly little words, it helps it like stick in my brain better. So I don't mean it to be insensitive. It's actually how my brain works, but sometimes it sounds a little funny. Anyways, look at these colors. And this is not reading as, see, it's the opposite of the purple. It's not reading as warm. It's really a very creamy linen. This one I fully kitted. That's all of it, folks. And she's gonna be so beautiful. I'm so excited to start this one. I'm a little intimidated by that big giant hill. It's okay. It's gonna be great. The border is so pretty. Don't focus on me. It's so pretty. I can hardly wait. This will be a spring start. This one is getting started this year, for sure. I love it. Oh, I love it so much. All right. Tuck that pretty down here. Okay. So this one, if it doesn't get started in February, which I'm not sure it will, it feels very March to me for some reason. It could be the green at the border. Sorry, I'm trying to talk over me gently opening this plastic because it's noisy. Sorry. Okay, this is Mojo Stitches, Needlework Designs and Delights in the library. This was the first thing that I saw in the shop. So I'd seen things, I wandered the shop. My kind of system is I wander a shop and I kind of mentally pick out things that draw me in, and then I go through again and I pick up a few things that I'm drawn to, and then I kind of like wheedle it down. This one, the moment I saw it, I picked it up. I mean, the lamp, the cute little kitter cat, the spy, telescope, can't speak, the globe, everything, the border. I mean, everything about it just screamed, go home, Laura. Look at the moths. There are moths in each side of the border. I love it so much. It's so pretty. Which is why I said it might get started in February, because I have a lot of enthusiasm for it right now. But it would make sense if it waited till March, right? Anyway, so I saw this. I was like, okay, I need linen for it. And I pulled out like 6 different linens and finally found this one, which is just scrumdiddly umptious. I mean, it's called linen. Oh my gosh. Vintage. I learned that means vintage. Vintage purled barley. But I'm sorry, you guys, I do not have a company. She was so lovely and made all of these tags, but they don't have the dyers on them. I would guess, just from the feel of it, and just thinking of what I saw there, she had some fox and rabbit. She didn't have very much Picture This Plus anymore. It might be a fox and rabbit. Maybe. I cannot guarantee that. Either way, it is delicious. I mean, it looks like you poured cream into a latte and it's just swirling around. I mean, it's so pretty. Anyway, so that's going to be my background for this pretty guy. I looked at a couple that were more on the gray side of things and they were really gorgeous. Like, it made it more modern. But if you look closely, there's this very soft vine that goes through here that's almost a white. I'm not even sure that is a white, but it's almost, it reads very white. And I really wanted that to show. I didn't want that to disappear into it. So I pulled the floss and it was gorgeous and I was gonna go with it. And then we were cutting the fabric and she's like, oh, did you know that I have did you see the kits for floss? I had pulled, so on the back of the pattern, it has Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and it calls it an approximate over dye conversion. And then it also has the DMC options on it. But the model was stitched with, these are called something. I recognized the name when she said it. Oh, Cottage Garden Threads. They're from Australia. I've never used them before, but they are absolutely spectacular. And just because I love you all, I'm going to open my virginal package of threads here. And we're going to do a little floss toss because that'll be fun. I don't know that we'll get to see them very well. But look at some of these. They are so beautiful, and I think they're just gonna be really, really cool. It's like a floss stick instead of toss. Oh, there, that might work. Ooh, okay, I'll do that and I'll bring it up. These are gorgeous. Anyway, Cottage Garden Threads. They have a vibrancy to them, like silk. They are cottons, 100% cottons, hand dyed, but they have the sheen of a silk, which is really exciting. It was more expensive, the kit was more expensive than the like Gentle Arts and Classic Colorworks conversion. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, all right, this is happening. It was an easy decision. Okay, that's not all of them, but it's most of them. Let's see if I can lift this up successfully. Oh, like a rock star. Yes. Oh. Okay, I've just decided this has to be started this month. We're not waiting for March. This is happening, folks. The library is happening. Anyways, it's gorgeous. I'm clearly very enthusiastic about it because how can I not be? It's gorgeous. But the last thing I got is not nearly as exciting, but it leads into February really well because people are finishing all of their adorable Valentine's Day charts. And I realized I have no like specifically Valentine's Day projects. Valentine's Day has always been kind of a back burner holiday for us, not because it's not fun, but we got married at the end of January. And so it's like you do your anniversary and then 2 weeks later is another big mushy gooey romantic holiday, which is lovely, but we usually order one of those like Papa Murphy's heart-shaped pizzas, or we make our own pizza, pepperoni, because it's the king of pizzas. And if you put pineapple on pizza, congratulations, I hope you enjoy it, but I don't want it. Anyways, pineapple pizza, pepperoni pizza. See, it's poison to the brain. Cooked pineapple is poison to the brain. Pepperoni pizza. And then we always watch Sleepless in Seattle, because there's not a better Valentine's Day movie out there, unless you know of one. But you're going to be hard-pressed to convince me of it. Anyways, la 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 la. I'm just chattering. These are my 2 Valentine's Day designs. And at Target, they have these adorable little houses that will blend in with my Christmas houses, which are just white porcelain. And I thought, oh my goodness, I could set up the little Valentine's Day house with a couple of white houses and then put a couple of brightly colored cross stitches in there. It'd be so cute now that I have a mantle for the first time in my grown-up life. And so I found this adorable opalescent, it's very shiny, linen, and I started it. And they're not going to be big. That's a whole side almost. Like, I think there's like one more scallop. So it's just going to be tiny little finishes. And I think I'm just going to try to find, those thick frames with like tiny holes. A couple of thick frames with tiny holes would be super cute. Anyways, I don't know that they'll get done this year, but I am, as I mentioned earlier, going out of town to watch my nephews, and I'm really only going to have the evenings available to stitch. So my plan is to take super simple projects for the next week, and then I'll do my more exciting, if you will, complicated projects when I get back. So I'm going to take my Sal, the Better Together Frosty Sal, and then I'll take this. And then I also have, there was one other one. Oh, yes, my Coffee First, which if you follow my Instagram, you will see I finally chose a color palette for. And this is done on an Aida. I'm stitching it on an Aida that I tea-dyed. So that's 3 projects. It's enough, diversity to keep me excited about things. But they're all simple enough that if somebody wakes up or needs something, I can set it down, and it's not like a 20-minute process to get my head back in the right space for it. So, plus, maybe I'll have more finishes by the end of February. That could be exciting. So yeah, I think, let me check my list here. I've done everything. Oh, I wanted to do a real quick shout out. I'd been recommended to watch Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, and I did watch her most recent episode. I haven't gotten to watch much Flosstube, honestly, because life has just been busy. And when I was staying at my parents' house, there's really not a lot of alone time. So I watched what they wanted to watch, and it was super fun. We watched a lot of movies in the evenings because we were too tired to do anything else. But anyways, I did watch an episode of Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. And that was really fun to see the kind of the conversion of her Flosstube with her quilting. And yeah, it was good. It was really fun. And she is working on a spooky countdown project that is absolutely adorable. Like, that might have to come home late summer and become part of my spooky rotation, because it's really, really cute. I also watched 2 new Flosstubers, which is always so exciting. I still consider myself to be a very new Flosstuber. Technically, you guys, it's amazing. We are 5 months in. It's just mind-boggling. And on the 10th episode. So, wow, That's really awesome. So I still think of myself as new, but these are baby Flosstubers, and they're doing a great job. So I wanted to give them little shout outs because nothing feels better when you're just getting started. Nothing feels better all the time than a good shout out. Anyway, so the first one is the New Hampshire Stitcher, and she did a little whip parade for her first video, and she just started stitching during the pandemic. And you guys, she's doing beautiful, beautiful work. I would never have believed that she started stitching 2 or 3 years ago. It's just, she does beautiful work, and she's got some really nice projects. But what I really enjoyed about her episode was that at the beginning she was very reserved, and she just bloomed through the episode. You could tell that she was finding her rhythm, and that her enthusiasm was coming through, and it was a real delightful watch. Her projects are gorgeous. If you like samplers and reproduction stitches, she's where it's at, because she's really doing some beautiful stuff. In fact, the first project, I literally did an entire linen and floss pull at Reflections, and then I couldn't do all 4, so I put that one back, but it's a gorgeous sampler, and the colors are so pretty. Anyways, the last one is Tammy's Cinnamon Stitches, and she was just a cute watch. She was really fun to watch. She's got some great projects. Her Alice in Wonderland Sal is one from one of the free downloads from Owl Forest Embroidery, and it's one I have downloaded. I've downloaded all the charts for, and one of these days here I'm just gonna have to buckle down and buy the linen and kit it up. I'd actually been waiting, so I now have my DMC floss chart, which I'm super excited for, because things like the Owl Forest Embroidery charts, it's a little more difficult without buying a full kit to get your hands on their gorgeous hand-dyed flosses. So, but she always gives a DMC conversion. So I figure I can kind of reverse engineer it from a DMC conversion into a from stash overdyed conversion. Anyway, so that's possible now. And she definitely got my brain wheels turning when she showed her Alice in Wonderland. She's also doing, she has so many cute charts. One that has this, it's a moth, and she's not very far in it, but it's going to be so cute. Anyways, she took to it really naturally, and was really delightful to watch. So if you've got spare time and want to check them out, I recommend them. They're really great. Yeah. Thanks for sticking with me, you guys. This has been a real fun catch up. My next video will be coming to you after I get back. So next Flosstube is February 10th. And then, drum roll please, I mentioned in my New Year's video that I am going to be starting Lala D's Quilting Bee episodes once a month, where I'll showcase basically all the other stuff I do, with an emphasis on quilting, and I am really looking forward to that. So my first episode of that will be on February 16th, and that is a very special day for me that I will explain to you in that video. So awesome. I'm so glad to have had this time with you and to have shared all of these happy things. It was really quite the month. I hope you have a lovely, lovely week and that life is treating you well. Happy stitching, my friends. Please take care, and I will see you soon.